Travis Wayne Goodsell. I was searching the internet trying to find out if I have to get a judge's order for judgment when I submit the entry of default on Tuesday, the 31st of March, against the church. And it does look at, like, I found the DC courts, and this seems to be what Utah was following, because they made me file a motion the last time. And so what this is saying in regards to the processes with entering a default judgment, entering a default judgment, which is in section B under 1, by the clerk, because the number 2, by the court, does not apply here because of the amount. My claim is for a certain sum, sum certain, as they refer to it here in the law, and it's everything. So it's that simple, and that's why I'm doing the list of all the assets of the church, so that I can present the sum certain. And it won't be a dollar figure, it'll just be the dollar figure of everything. I know I'm pushing it because nobody's ever done it before, but nobody's ever gone up against the church like this before and had the response by the courts and the church like this before. So we're treading on pioneer territory to get the church to hand it over so that I can save the world, because our yahoos are not doing it. They're abandoned by the government, abandoned by our company businesses, abandoned by religion. They've all betrayed and abandoned us. They've taken their money and running. And yes, they're buying stocks today. That's because they're using Trump's claim that, oh, we're going to start businesses up again for Easter. You don't honestly think the big corporations, the guys who got themselves in the position to own a big corporation, to invest, are believing Trump is right when we're going to open on Easter? Seriously? No, they're using that as cover to justify buying now that the stocks are low. And then once they get enough at a certain rate, then they'll sell them again. That's what they do. They make money. Anyway, so this is the process for entering a default judgment by the clerk. If the plaintiff's claim is for a sum certain, and that's what mine is, the clerk, on the plaintiff's request, so that's a motion, must enter judgment. So it's a motion for default judgment for the amount, everything, against the defendant who has been defaulted for not responding as provided. And I had to do a waiver of service because the judges were helping, aiding and abetting in this, preventing me from serving the defendants. But I finally did with the waiver of summons and followed that procedure to the T, and therefore they have until the 30th of March at midnight. And so the plaintiff filed and served a verified complaint. Yes, the waiver of service was the format for verified complaint, or an affidavit verifying the complaint. And I did that with the judges as well. I notified Judge First and Wada that I had served the summons to the lawyers for the church, so they had received it. But because it's a waiver of summons, this is not necessary. And I told them that I would be doing the request for judgment, so we're good on that one. B, a verified complaint or affidavit sets out the sum claimed to be due, exclusive of all set-offs and defenses. And so, yeah, that's what I have to do, is put everything, and then I'll list all the church's assets. And C, the request for judgment is made no more than 60 days after default is entered. Okay. Interesting. So I'll have to do separately a motion for final judgment, final default judgment, and then also submit at the same time the entry of default. Interesting. So I guess we can combine them. Okay, so we'll have to see about this. D, the plaintiff at the time of requesting the judgment properly filed for each defendant. Okay, that doesn't apply because it's not an individual, it's a corporation. So that's what I get to do on Tuesday the 31st, is go in and do a motion for default judgment and entering, getting the clerk to enter the default. But they run it on a motion. So if I do the motion, maybe I have to put motion for default judgment, and then indicate that the entry of default needs to be made as well. This is all new to me. So, and that's what they're doing. They're taking advantage of me because of my lack of understanding of procedures that they've been doing the whole time, and that's a violation of the law as well. They're not supposed to take advantage of me. They're not supposed to be supporting the defendant and so forth and so on. But that's what I'm expecting, or I'm planning for, is that the church is going to refuse to respond, expecting that they won't actually judge in favor of me. So it looks like we will have to wait, and so that's where I'm concerned, is they've been ignoring me this whole time. And on the 31st, that's victory. The judge has no other option but to judge in my favor. But if they ignore me, how long are they going to ignore me? So the judgment will be waiting. See, in Kay Burningham's case, Gaddy versus COP, the judge is sitting on the decision whether to proceed with the case or to dismiss her case. And he's just sitting on that. That's not a final judgment. That's just whether Kay can proceed. But this is for final. This is gold. The Olympics have been canceled, but I'm going for gold here in Utah. And we got to get them to comply to the laws that they are supposed to be observing, because what's going to happen is if Judge First refuses just flat out refuses to respond to this default judgment on the 31st. And she then quits because she's fired. And so she's gone at the end of April. The 30th of April, Thursday. Then Judge Waddups will then have to assign the case to someone else. Unfortunately, he already knows that I won. And so whoever he assigns it to, he's got to have it rigged against me. And so this is the dilemma we're in, guys. I beat the church. They're a $1 trillion operation. They own the world. I just did the video. It's uploaded. Yeah, it's finished. There's publishing. There you go. You can watch the 3-minute video where I scroll down all of the church-owned camps. That's property they own. And so I've got resort places. We all do now. So be looking for that. When we get everybody's needs taken care of, I will set up the website for people to rent the cabins all over the world. Rent the campsites and all that. So, I mean, we're looking at... what are you doing? You're not supposed to be on this page. You're supposed to be on the videos page. I got it. Okay, good. So 4 people have come to the Mormon goddess. Nobody's coming to the Mormon goddess, guys. Come on. I mean, she's murdering people. There's evidence that she was gonna get married before the murders. Man. Alright. Oh, somebody commented. Yuck. I guess men will live this new rule. Charlie Kirk? Who the hell are you, Charlie? Yuck, I guess men will live this new rule. Are you being sarcastic? Because I don't know why you would go yuck. Because you look like you're wearing a white shirt. Yeah. You don't have any content. So I was on my video that I did, LDS Mormon Church to resume polygamy during April 2024 General Conference. And he goes, yuck, I guess men will live this new rule. No, you missed what I was saying. So I'm gonna delete it. I don't know if I should probably ban him, but he's not paying attention to the whole video, because what I'm trying to warn men is Nelson did away with the high priests. The group now is with the elders, which means elders have no need to be elevated to high priests when they turn 55, 65, or whatever age. They just remain elders for life, unless they become a church leader, which only relatives and best friends become, and in Utah anyway. And so what the church is doing is preventing men from becoming high priests. Now, why would they do that? Well, Doctrine and Covenants, section 76. You must be a high priest in order to be exalted in the Mormon afterlife, in the celestial kingdom, 3rd degree. And which is interesting, because that's the Master Mason level. Wonder if that had any influencing. But and then you go to section 132, and you also see that Brigham Young, he was the one who put that in there. It's not Joseph. He lied. He put section 132 in his Doctrine and Covenants the year before he died. And you have to be a polygamist in order to be exalted. So you put those two facts together, that you have to be a high priest, and under Brigham's church you have to be a polygamist. Now Nelson has taken away the high priest group, which means no need for elders to become high priests unless they become leaders. So the majority of Mormon men will not become high priests. So they will not qualify for exaltation. Now, when they start up polygamy, which Oakes was joking about when he gave his talk, Trust in the Lord, the first Saturday session, the last talk of that session, he was joking about polygamy, talking about a woman who came to him saying, oh, I'm going to get married to this man who's already married to a woman who died, and will I become the first wife, or is she still the first wife? And he says, trust in the Lord, as his answer to her. That's why the talk is as it is. Trust in the Lord about polygamy. And so they're gonna bring polygamy back. But they're waiting until the Salt Lake Temple is finished in 2024. I'm assuming April, because all Mormons assume April for the dedication of the temple, right? That's what the early church members thought when Brigham Young finished the Nauvoo temple, but then said, nope, we're waiting until the Illuminati anniversary on the 1st of May, which, by the way, is also the Russian New Year, or I guess it's New Year. And guys, and I did the video talking about that, but they're setting things up for polygamy, and those who are just elders will not be able to get married at all. And you're thinking, well, why not? Can't we just be married to one woman? Because we get to choose our spouse, right? No. You're not paying attention to what the FLDS church did with Warren Jeffs. What happened there was that the creepy old leaders saw the rising generation of young, haughty 14-year-olds and then realized, we can't have them if the teenage 14-year-old boys are complaining that they want to marry them instead. So they kicked out the boys. They became the Lost Boys of Utah. And then the men, the creepy old men, leaders, were marrying these 14-year-old girls, as Warren Jeffs has his picture taken kissing a 14-year-old girl as he's holding her in his arms. That's what will happen. That's what happened under Brigham Young. When Brigham Young started polygamy in 1852, he then added a whole bunch of wives to him beyond what he'd already added with the extortion to come to Utah with him. Because women need a man to take care of them. They can't own their own property. They can't own their own business. They can't survive without a man. That's how it was back then. Women don't realize that. Or if they do, they're not taking it seriously enough, because not enough women are coming to my channel. But guess what happened to the men who weren't leaders under Brigham Young? They didn't get a wife. But back then, Brigham built brothels. Orrin Porter Rockwell built the first one at the point of, let's see, where's the point of the mountain? That way. At the point of the mountain. That was Orrin Porter Rockwell's brothel. So he got one because Brigham Young, okay, you're an assassin, so we need to give you some benefits. So he got to run the brothel there at the point of the mountain. And so that's how it's going to be, but without the brothels. Unless Emperor Trump wants brothels brought back, made legalized throughout the United States of fascist America. And so with this coronavirus, I was like, holy crap, they're doing it now? Because the church was doing all these things right as coronavirus was hitting. Lately, with the handbook release and my lawsuit. And so this is what seems to be going on in the background that we're not being privy to. Is when you look for the clues and you assemble all the parts together, you come up with a very horrifying outcome that the church is planning in 2024, when the temple is rededicated, to resume polygamy, because we're already transitioning into the New World Order of the Illuminati that I've been warning you guys about. And so there won't be any opposition to the church. They'll be able to do whatever they want. And the leaders will get the extra wives, if any survive. As I'm finding out, teen girls in the Mormon church were being poisoned up until 2019, when the report was given, that they're being poisoned at these camps. And so, my God, they're just exterminating everybody. They're doing a purge. And so who knows who's going to be left. I doubt Nelson will be left, and so it's most likely Oaks. Oaks seems to be the one planning for all of this. And so that's a very frightening scenario of the future. And so I need this judgment. If the judges continue to deny the federal laws that they swore an oath to, instead of, and they're giving it to the church instead, what do we do? Because $1 trillion or so can easily fix everything in the world. And that's why it's not being fixed, is because those with hundreds of billions are refusing to give of their substance to the poor, because they want the poor exterminated so that they can control things. That's why the climate change thing was all a deal, because before that they were trying to do a depopulation agenda, scaring everybody. Oh, the world's too full, there's no more room. Even Trump talked about it. There's no more room in America. Gotta kick them out. So these are dangerous times we're living in. And it's unfortunate that YouTube is in on it, because the church invests in YouTube through Google. And so I'm getting knocked down. But this is a serious thing that we've got to remedy. And I'm doing the best I can. Maybe on Passover, that's when the judge will concede. But maybe that's what Judge First is hoping for. Maybe she's pretending to be this way. But when I do the default for the church not filing, maybe. So we all need to hope with all our mights. And no, yeah, still no response on my docket. Okay, but yeah, the judges have to side with me. If the church just blatantly dismisses it. I followed the rules. The church is not. The judges are not. I followed the rules. And I know with Trump, you're not supposed to follow the rules. That's what he wants, is for everybody to cheat, so that he can then complain, oh, you're cheating. Yeah, because you cheat. That's the new rules you said. So, bye, Mr. Trump. You're now a civilian. You're now being arrested because we cheated and got rid of you. It's real simple. But in my position against the church, I can't cheat. The judges won't let me because they're cheating. So, we'll figure something out for us. But again, Moses confronts Pharaoh, let my people go. What happens? Coronavirus through Egypt. So we're seeing parallels, and it's very weird. And sure enough, we're at Passover time.